Hey everyone.
What's up, crew? Welcome to our Facebook Live. I'm Ben Brown, obviously the host here and the owner of BSL Nutrition with my lovely wife, Kristina, who is joining us for the very first time on a live video, and she is sweating profusely.
Hands are super clammy.
It's been a few weeks. We have been traveling, and if you haven't seen, I haven't shown or shared very much through my feed. But if you
Oh,
follow
okay.
Kristina, she's been posting excessively about our travels. So you probably saw that we were on vacation for the last few weeks. We were in LA for 4th of July. We were in Hawaii. Kauai specifically, which is our absolute favorite
Favorite.
island, for the last 2 weeks with our kids, and traveling, relaxing, disconnecting, and a lot of lessons were learned throughout that journey. Now, one of the things that we see frequently and that we communicate a lot with our clients through our coaching program, especially this time of year, is a lot of the challenges and a lot of the struggles that come from summertime, right? The kids are out of school. Oftentimes we're vacationing, especially for those of us that live in Phoenix. It's blazing hot, so most of us try and get out of town for parts of June, most of July, if possible. At least we certainly do. And invariably, what that lends itself to is, the chaos that comes from lack of structure, lack of routine,
Mhm.
alcohol, weekend behaviors, social get-togethers, and all of the nuances that are part of just traveling in general. And so, what we're going to talk about on this Facebook Live is just some of our experiences through our travels, what went well, what didn't go well, how we can get better in the future, and perhaps offer some insight and some strategy on how to relay that to you and how you can implement that into your routine as we kind of wrap up summer, as kids start to get back into school, so that you can, one, stay on track, two, get back on track if you feeling like many of us are feeling like you need to get back into the swing of things. Before we dive in, I think our community would love to know a little bit more about you, really briefly. Who are you besides being the HBIC? Uh, who are you, and what is it that you do with BSL Nutrition?
Yeah. Hey everyone. I'm Kristina Brown. This guy's better half. What's up? I sit in the hallway just on the other side, so I listen to Ben all day long. And I have, we've been together for 18 years, so I've been part of this journey since day one. I am not a nutritionist. I am a BSL client myself, going through the process and working on my own journey every single day. And it was about 2 years ago that I was like, I'm all in. I want to be better and I need to make those steps better. And I need to do my day to day and make it look better because, one, I wanted to be a better partner. I wanted to be an amazing role model to my children and our community. So I run business development for BSL Nutrition and love it. I mean, there's challenges to learning an online business for me because I've been very service oriented for 20 years with people in general. If you know me, I love to chat and love to build community. So that's what I do with us and on the back end. So I go through my day to day and live through it with on my own experiences and family, business, and just find a way to prioritize myself. So I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. And along the same vein as prioritizing yourself, obviously that's very relevant with what it is that we do, and I think something that all of our clients struggle with, and ourselves included. And part of bringing Christina on this call is really just our wanting to be transparent about our lifestyles. I love social media because it gives you insight into other people's lives. At the same time, it doesn't convey the level of nuance that comes from those types of positions, those types of posts, to the degree that it's all literally sunshine and rainbows when we're posting from Hawaii. But what you don't see is us screaming at the kids in the background to shut the hell up, to smile for the picture, to get the cookie out of their mouth, to get their hand out of the pantry. And I know that that's stuff that literally we all struggle with, that you struggle with, and we don't want to come off as we live these perfect lives and we don't struggle too, because we very much do. And so what I wanted to share is some of the struggles that we've encountered. I know that all of us encounter over this time of year relative to what I talked about earlier: the lack of structure, the routine, the alcohol, the opportunities that come from being more socially active and from traveling. Some of those same struggles that we encountered, how we create structure in our day-to-day, and then perhaps some of the tools that we can impart onto you so that you can continue to make improvements and get better from day to day. So Kristina, I guess let's start with some of the things that you felt like we struggled with over the past few weeks by virtue of just all of the travel, the inconsistencies. What do you feel like was hard that might resonate with some of our listeners?
I will say hard, if we're going to start off where something that I think that was hard was, I think, more alcohol and a little bit more less structure, I guess, because, you kind of unplug and you sleep in a little, and you might not have the same gym or the same walking environment, which we did. We had a good walking environment. But I would say alcohol. I feel like we gave ourselves a lot more freedom to have more alcohol, and it's something we've eliminated in our day-to-day because it doesn't help us get closer to our goals. But I will say I felt really tropical having a nice Mai Tai but it was cool because I think about it, if you used to have like 4 Mai Tais, but now I had like a crystal ice with some vodka. It was a better choice, but I noticed myself getting better and having a better option, but still a little bit more alcohol than I'm used to right now in this point in my life.
Yeah, it was kind of like one of the things we were experiencing was because we full on, and this is perfectly fine and justified and something that we want not only our clients, but we feel like everyone should be justified to do, is have more flexibility and freedom when they're on vacation. But oftentimes it's binary in terms of like either it's all or nothing. So it's like, okay, checking out, we're on vacation, and it's like wake up and start drinking. And to be fair, like when you're on vacation, it's very easy to rationalize, well, let's see, it's 11 a.m. Might as well, have a cocktail, because why not? And I think it's a slippery slope when it comes to that first beverage and how it lends itself to like, okay, well, might as well have another, and then might as well throw my hand in the bag of pretzels. And it just
macadamia nuts in Hawaii, awful, but delicious.
Right. And so even within the context of it's like one of the things I often talk to clients about is we're never going to be in a position where you can eat as much as you want or drink as much as you want without any consequences, right? So first and foremost is we need to set some realistic expectations to say, well, what do I want this to look like? How much flexibility and freedom do I need? And therefore, how do I work backwards to the degree that in order for me to only see a couple pound increase on the scale, what needs to happen on a day-to-day basis for me to have some semblance of structure? And in this particular case, it might be, okay, well, we're not going to crack a beverage until 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And we're only going to have a couple, right? And so this was part of the mindset that we definitely had in place. Now, listen, I've been doing this forever, and it still doesn't mean that it's something that I'm, don't struggle with. Kristina's been more actively and made more concerted efforts, just particularly the last couple years. Yeah. And so it's an ongoing process as to what it is that we're focusing on, how we can consistently do better, how we can shift our mindset around what that actually means and what it looks like, so that we don't have to feel like, again, all or nothing. So certainly was the alcohol that I know a lot of people struggle with. And now we're back to reality, so to speak, and we're kind of just drying out, if you will. And it's not that we even drank that much, right? But it is something where it was significantly more than what we have been drinking recently. It was significantly less than what we would have drinking in the past, but nonetheless, even a little bit can go a long way in terms of sabotaging your goals. So I think it's important to clarify exactly what it is that you're working towards. So we established definitely the alcohol was one thing. What else do you think was something that was a little more difficult to manage while we were traveling with the kids, that other parents, other busy professionals might be relating to?
I think a little more snacking. Sometimes you might not have your normal day-to-day protein. We did stock heavily on protein, but at the same time, I noticed I was snacking a lot more, a little bit more, heading to the kitchen, getting a snack here, noshing on more snacks, which is something I've been trying to work on in my day-to-day. So utilizing those habits I'm working on day-to-day and bringing it into vacation mode. I got a lot more to practice, but I will say I do think the more flexible, or not, I don't even know flexible, just a little too much snacking.
Definitely. And that's really one of those things where you realize, like, when you have structure in your day to day and then you lack that structure, it's so easy to put yourself in positions where the calories can really start to add up. Mm-hmm. And it's as simple as doing exactly that, as finding your hand literally in the cookie jar multiple times per day for no other reason than you're just not cognizant of what's going on. You're following with the kid's lead. You're distracted, you're bored, you're stressed, you're anxious, or you're just drunk and you're just eating for the sake of eating. And it's all good and well, but I think it really does lend itself to why it's still important to have some semblance of structure. So if you're still in that summer vibe, like we've got kids going back to school in a week and a half, so we still are in sort of the summer doldrum of throw them in front of the TV while we try and get our work done, and maintain some semblance of structure as much as we possibly can. And then let's see, I think that really is probably one of the most salient aspects of why we struggle so much when it comes to the summer routine, when it comes to the travel, is really just a lack of structure. And what I'd love to kind of progress into is some of the things that you felt like we did really well, that helped us create that semblance of structure, help us create routine, helped us make better decisions, that could perhaps be some good takeaways for those listening, now that they're probably resonating with some of our behaviors as to their own.
I think we were great at moving. Whether it was walks, paddleboarding. I mean, depending on where you are. But this time of the year is really great to be outside. So I will say, for us being in Hawaii, we did a lot more moving. It was different. We probably wouldn't have moved as much if we were here in Phoenix, or we would have. We just had to wake up at 4 to do it. But I think the walking was a win for us. Yeah.
I'll be honest. I think for me, the movement was not a win. I was pretty sedentary. I trained once in 3 weeks. And for me, and that's fine. Like, it's totally something that I acknowledge as being acceptable. And I think a lot of us fear what happens when we don't train consistently. At least I know a lot of our clients do. Yeah. And so that was definitely something that I struggled with, that I totally could have done better with, but just didn't really make a concerted effort to do. And I know you did a lot better job of it than I did. But I do think it's definitely something that is very manageable for people while they're on vacation. And oftentimes one of the things that we really talk about is it's not necessary to hit the gym every single day or at all for a couple of week period of time. Like, you're not going to lose all of your gains, right? But it is important to move, and it's often easier for people to move more consistently while they're on vacation because they have more time. And so they can really structure their days around building it into how can we move more consistently. I mean, I know we do go out of our way, and we did, to be fair, go out of our way to do hikes, to go on adventures, to walk the beach multiple times. I think for me, it just didn't really add up to be enough total physical activity. And I definitely felt myself feeling like down in the dumps because I wasn't getting the level of exercise that I normally get, which was pretty interesting for me. But it really also is like we said, hey, next time we go back, we know we need to make a concerted effort to like find a gym and keep that level of structure into place around our workouts because it's something that we really feel good doing. And for me personally, like I love traveling and going to these local area gyms, whether it's like a Total Meathead gym or if it's an LA Fitness or if it's a Planet Fitness, it doesn't really matter. I love having the opportunity just to go to different gyms and sort of get out of your network and experience what that looks like.
Yeah.
So that's definitely one thing that I think people can do is maintain that semblance of exercise, maintain that structure. We talked about walking. We talked about trying to commit to going to a gym if it's relevant for them. For us, it's something we want to do, but it's not totally necessary. What about from a nutrition standpoint is something that you think we did well that helped set the stage for success, just generally speaking?
I think we ate a good amount of protein.
Yeah.
I mean, we had fresh fish, poke, most meals. We started our day with protein, and I think every meal we had a good amount of protein. You became the grill master of fish. It was delicious.
Yeah, we had a great opportunity to obviously eat a lot of fresh fish, which was awesome. And I think one of the things that Kristina hit on that we've found to work really well for us, that might be helpful for you, is to really, and I talk about this all of the time, and it's relevant not only to our day-to-day, but absolutely to our travel schedule, is to start the day with a good chunk of protein as much as possible. And this is important for us, but especially important for the kids as well. And honestly, I don't think we did a very good job of, I think we did lip service to it with the kids. And we did better, right? But for the kids, it's like it was easy. It was easy to just put a bowl of cereal in front of them, to go to the coffee shop, get our coffee, and throw a pastry in front of them, and just to minimize. And Kristina's a lot better at this than I am in terms of picking and choosing the battles that are worth fighting over. It's like I throw a fit every freaking time, like there's sugar in front of their face. And she's like, dude, like you just need to chill out. And I think that's fair to a degree.
Give and take, yeah. There's give and take there though.
But that's definitely the dichotomy here of right. And perhaps if you guys are couples, like you can agree is when she's being strict, I'm like much more likely to give them, the crap, right? And then similarly, is I would say I'm a lot more frequently the sugar Nazi, especially as it pertains to like that first meal of the day. But specifically around traveling, because I think the nature of travel lends itself to like much more options when it comes to eating in the afternoon, in the evening, going out to dinner, again, having more cocktails.
And you want to explore new food and culture and restaurants that you're not used to. So.
Right. And so within that is like, well, the more structure we can create earlier on in the day, the better. The more consistent, the more structured, the more regimented, perhaps even the more boring we can create that, the better. So what we tried to do was really just mimic our day-to-day morning routine. Eggs, egg whites, plain toast. We love sourdough toast. Yeah. Some fruit. Obviously, we had a ton of like fresh pineapple, watermelon, mango was amazing. So we added a little bit more fruit. But that for us kind of really helped set the stage to say, okay, well, if we have a solid breakfast, and for lunch, we did really just like sandwiches, turkey, sourdough bread, avocado, some fruit. maybe some pretzels or something like that to try and get a good chunk of protein with breakfast, with
And
lunch.
2 vodkas.
And maybe a couple high noons, maybe a couple 3 high nooners. Then, we've got a well-balanced, at least first part of the day. And like Kristina said, I mean, we do enjoy eating healthy. Therefore, dinner, it's not like we were eating crap. Mm-mm. It was fish, rice, vegetables, and we ate really well. Really just the limiting factor was definitely the alcohol, some desserts. I think I had ice cream probably every single day for a month. Sure. And, so it's kind of picking your battles there, but but still saying like, hey, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. Mm-mm. We don't have to completely go off the rails and eat pastries, just because we're on vacation. Like, I just don't feel good eating crap for breakfast. Right. And I know you don't either. And I think it's giving ourselves permission to still have that, those high protein meals in place. And so that's something that I think we did really well within the context. The one other thing that I just want to mention, because we were talking, and then I'll kind of wrap it up here, is around the kids and the fact that they were eating a lot more junk than certainly ours would normally eat. But what we did try and do, and always try and do, is still try and infuse healthy options within the junk that they're eating. It's like they may be having a donut or, a croissant. Or
Nutella pastry.
Like an amazing Nutella
croissant
that we got.
With a side of turkey bacon.
Right. So we'd get a side of like chicken sausage or bacon or turkey bacon to still try and get some protein in them to help them stabilize and balance their blood sugar levels. Basically as our insurance policy to make sure that they're not too big of assholes later on in the day.
So true.
So that, is kind of doing the best that we can without, again, trying to, I don't know. For me, it's just trying not to be too big of a dick all of the time.
You did well.
What else?
You did well. I think what we kind of like did towards the end, this is what I loved, because we've never done this actually, because I also wasn't the greatest partner. I'm going to be honest. Like, I was like years ago, I wasn't the partner that thought like this, and that was like a good co-pilot. But I think this trip and this vacation, this travel, we talked about how we could do better next travel. And I really love that. I love that we said, you know what, we did well here. These were ways we could improve, but this is what we want for, what vacation mode looks like, because it's not just a week. It's not just 5 days. Like, it's 3 weeks, 4 weeks, like these, and I don't want to see our, vacation modes stay that long. So we talked about ways, and we discussed a lot of those, but I loved that we talked about how we could be better for our next vacation, because we do this every single day. We talk about practicing. This is how we get better. And that's with all of our habits, all of our day-to-days. And I like that we talked about how we can get better in our vacation mode. And so this vacation was better than our last one, health-wise, movement-wise, food choices. So I only know, like, our next travel will only be that much better as we establish new habits, and that mindset that comes with it as well.
Yeah, I think that was really well put, because we enjoy feeling good. And, it's just eliminating that old belief system around just because you feel like this is what you used to enjoy doesn't mean that you're relegated to reinforcing those patterns for the rest of your life on every vacation. And then within that is, again, like you said, just trying to get better, acknowledging what went well, what didn't go well, and what we can do better next time. And for us, it was just like having the conversation, like, you know what? I know we didn't work out and we didn't make a concerted effort to work out, but like, we would really like to work out. And for a lot of people, they'd be like, ooh, I don't want to go to the gym while I'm on vacation. Like, we like to go to the gym. And, and if you do too, it doesn't make you a bad person. It's like, I enjoy training and I missed it, and I didn't feel great not training, right? And so that for us, that was definitely something that we acknowledged, to the degree that next trip, it's like, hey, for part of our trip, like, we do want to make sure that we have access to some gym or equipment.
We said Costco dumbbells. It was like $279 at Costco. It's on the island. And so it's like, let's buy those dumbbells next year.
Yeah, so
And we're probably
Christina's
going to
like,
leave them at the
Christina's
VRBL.
like, let's buy this dumbbell set and just leave it at the house, which, to be fair,
We like the house.
you
We'll
know,
come back to it.
Well, I'm not sold on that yet, but it's a good thought. It's like, is that worth it to get in your structured workouts? Perhaps it is. And then last thing that I want to touch on here is kind of getting back on track moving forward. So we got back, we had identified a lot of things that went well, a lot of things that we could be doing better. I think that we weren't too far off where we wanted to be in terms of progress. I think we both were probably up a few pounds on the scale.
A little more fluffy.
A little bloat, a little fluff, a little, all of those things. And so what is it that you were kind of focused on implementing? Because for anyone that's listened to us and listened to me, it's never an all or nothing. We never say, okay, we're starting again Monday. I'm going to eliminate everything bad. I'm going to add in only the good stuff, right? It's more progressive. It's more, it's more, I don't know, what's the right word? It's just more progressive in terms of how and what we're focusing on. That's sort of going to be the needle mover. So what is it that you're focused on?
Wow. I unpacked, let me be honest. I unpacked everything and laundry's done, so that's a win. But for me, I think tracking is a huge awareness tool for me. So it was something I didn't do 100% nor 50% of the time while we were on vacation. So for me, I love tracking. So I started tracking actually when we got back into California. So it was something, it gives me control. It allows me to kind of be my own, and as you say, nutrition detective. Help me with, my limited snacking. I only eat like a handful of cookies, not 12. But I think tracking is going to be, and it is so far my tool to get back on track, if that's what we want to say.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And that's similar for me too, is we both find the value, and so many of our clients find the value in tracking their calories, and not everyone's ready for it. Not everyone wants to do it. That's totally fine. We've got plenty of ways for people to create awareness, to have accountability, to have that structure, to move the needle. For us, it happens to be calorie tracking, and it's a beautiful way to be able to audit yourself from time to time if and when you choose to do it. So I know for both of us, that's definitely something that we are getting back into the swing of things to create that control, because invariably it lends itself to ensuring that you have structure in your day-to-day. For example, today we had one of our
Staples.
One of our clients sent us a box of cookies, and
Thanks, Ashley.
right. And so it's like,
loud.
it's one of the situations where it's like, had I not been tracking, it would have been very easy for me to just go, oh yeah, I'll have a cookie or two. And when you are, it's sort of that little voice in the back of your head being like, hey, dude, you're going to need to track that. And it's easy to then be like, I think I'll pass on that. Because,
No, I totally tracked it and totally ate it. Thanks.
okay,
Delicious.
well, I actually did too, but I only had one. And but it's, the voice in the back of your head that's saying, hey, dude, you need to do this, and then taking ownership for it. So it's tracking, it's getting back into the swing of the workouts, and just kind of the things that you have control over, is not getting overwhelmed by, oh my God, I put on 10 pounds. I don't even know what to do. Screw it all. But rather saying, well, what are some of the things that I know have moved the needle in the past, will help me improve my confidence and consistency from day to day. Maybe it's just walking. Maybe it's just tracking and not worrying about anything else. Maybe it's getting back into your workout routine. Maybe it's just committing to high protein breakfast to help move the needle. You got to figure out what works best for you. For us, those are definitely the needle movers that we would encourage you to focus on. And of course, if you need help with any of this, we are absolutely here to help you For those of you that don't know, we do have a nutrition and fitness coaching company that happens to be exclusively online. And our mission is to help you change your belief system around what it means to be healthy. In this particular case, it's really understanding that it's perfectly fine and acceptable, and you should have a large amount of flexibility and freedom when it comes to your lifestyle and being able to have the autonomy to make the decisions that you want to make when you want to make them, and knowing very clearly how that's going to correlate to your goals. And we can help you build those tools and those skills. So if you have any questions, then please drop us a line. If this has been helpful for you, please let us know in the comments. Shoot us a private DM. If there's anyone that you think this type of information can benefit from, please invite them to the group, tag them in the comments below, and share this with anyone that you think could benefit. Thank you guys for joining in. We will be back next week. We've got a webinar. What are you doing?
I just said, me too. I mastered my first Facebook Live. I feel like a superhero right now.
Oh, you did great. And so we will be back. So we've got a couple exciting things in the pipeline that we'll be sharing more about. We've got a big webinar coming up mid-August. A couple other spicy details to that we're going to be able to share, and that we're really excited about, and lots of moving pieces here with respect to the BSL Nutrition team. A couple exciting announcements there. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining in. We will see you guys in the next live. Peace.